welcome to the Founder Factor, where we'll dig into the ideas, strategies, and mindsets of some of South Carolina's most impactful entrepreneurs. So today on the show, we are joined by Nicole Johnson, who is the co-founder of Boyd Cycling here in Greenville. Welcome to the show. So good to have you.
Hi, Caroline. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, well, let's dive right in here. So tell us a bit about the story of Boyd Cycling. How did it start? Where did your involvement in it begin?
Yeah. So Boyd Cycling is going on 14 years in business, and we started obviously 2009. My husband and I both were professional cyclists, and Boyd was thinking about retiring and what he wanted to do next. And he always loved working on his wheels. He was sponsored by a lot of different companies, and he sometimes would rebuild his wheels depending on the performance of them.
No way.
Yeah. And so he always was just very savvy about, what he thought was a good wheel or good products. And so when he was getting ready to retire, he said to me, you know what, I think I want to, make a contribution to the industry, and I have some ideas. And I said, okay, go for it. So I actually was already working in the industry. And so that was the September in the fall. And by December, he came to me and just said, I can't do this without you. I need your help. So I gave a 2-month notice to the current position or job that I had. And after 30 days, they said, Nicole, you need to go do this with your husband. And so off we went, and failure wasn't an option.
Yeah, right.
We just jumped
All your
in.
eggs in one basket,
yes,
sounds like.
Yes. So I started obviously with a number of hats. With a small business, you have to do a lot of different things. My main role was obviously sales and business development. But then I also had to learn how to do our books and understand QuickBooks. And then as we hired people, I was our HR person, which I still handle a lot of that stuff today.
Yep. QuickBooks is the classic, the classic learning that all business owners have to do.
Yes, it's very important. And it's a great product. So I think for people who are not trained accountants or CPAs, it's a great tool.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. So what was it like going into business with your husband? Was he your husband at that time too?
Yes, we had just gotten married. Okay. So we got married 2008. So it was our 1-year anniversary when we started the business. Yeah. We did not have our child yet. So I do think that was good that we were just, a newly married couple and didn't have a whole family yet to try to manage. So people ask me that question all the time. They say, how do you work with your husband? Their comment is, if I worked with mine, I probably would kill him. And so, what I tell people is, we don't confuse our marriage with our business relationship, and we just have a high respect for one another. And so, obviously his skill set is different than mine, but there's many times that we have to come together and make a decision and agree. Sure. So we've mastered that over the years and really just give each other a moment and time to make decisions and support each other.
Well, that's great. That's great. So what was the biggest challenge you faced early on in the business, just personally, coming from this previous job and then transitioning to being a business owner?
Yeah. So I think this happens for a lot of founders as they have an idea and they don't realize that there's so many other factors in running a business. So for me, I don't get overwhelmed easily, but with, some of the things that I didn't know how to do, like the books, that was a little bit unnerving to me because I had to understand what, sales tax was and how to file and how to, form an LLC. And, we always just wanted to make sure that we were following the rules, if you will. And so early on, those were some things that definitely overwhelmed me, but I'm very resourceful. And so, I found people that I could talk to that were experts. Mm-hmm. Our network was something that was really important early on and has continued to be as we've grown the company to a much larger scale.
Right. And I'm sure you had a great network too from your days as a professional cyclist.
Yes. So that's honestly, when we started the company, a lot of our friends and teammates and people that we knew in the industry were our first customers. And we joked that, the first person that was a stranger to us that bought, we made a huge announcement. We now own a business because strangers are buying from us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so good. Yeah. That's the perfect litmus test. It's not just friends and family.
Right. It's not friends and family.
Yep,
we're actually like legitimate, and strangers from California are buying from us.
So what did Boyd look like back in those days? Because I know now you just do wheels, right? You just manufacture and sell wheels, but you did more than that at the beginning.
Correct. Yeah. So when we started, we made bicycles, we made handlebars, bottle cages, and wheels. And we started the whole thing out of our home, which, we grew out of our home very quickly. At one point I said, we can't even sit down to watch television. We need to do something different.
You're just like sitting on bottle cages everywhere you go.
Right. Yeah. So early on though, once, because we were excited and we didn't know any better. And, honestly, we didn't have investors. We didn't have people saying, should you be doing this or should you be focusing? And, we saved a bunch of money and we invested all of our own money into the company. And so we thought that's what we should do is have, a diverse product line. But very quickly we realized that takes a lot of cash. And with bicycles, you have different colors and different sizes, and it never failed. We had a red in a size 55 and someone wanted a blue in a size 55. And so I read this book. It's called Good to Great by Jim Goodwin. I recommend it to any new entrepreneur. And the focus of the book is to focus on your expertise and not be spread thin. And so after reading that book, we had a long heart-to-heart about what we should do. And Boyd really loves the wheels. Like that's where his expertise really lies. And so we made the decision to pretty much drop everything and just focus on the wheels. And that was the best thing we could have ever have done because we doubled in size the next year.
No way, you doubled in size?
We doubled in size, which, when you're small and you're starting out, it's not, astronomical to be able to do that, but it was pretty substantial for us to be able to do that. And we also worked with a program called Michelin Development. So, Michelin is a wonderful company here that we all know, a large employer. They love Greenville so much that they created this funding program for small business owners because, you can't get a loan from a bank when you first start a business. You don't have enough credibility or history to show that you can pay them back. So they had a loan program. It was $50,000 and you had to write a business plan and you had to go in front of their board and pitch them and convince them that your business was solid enough for them to give you this loan. And so we were able to do that. And that was part of our success and being able to buy more inventory and actually hire a full-time person. So
what year was that? Like year 2 of the business?
2010.
Okay.
Yeah, about halfway through 2010.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's a big jump start for sure. So now going back to a bit more of the personal side of things.
Yeah.
So how would you say that you have changed as a business leader just over the course of Boyd's business journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. You mature a lot. You realize that you can't control everything. I think early on I tended to worry. Obviously you always worry as an entrepreneur because there's lots of things that, you've got to be focused on. And there's not just one thing that you do all day.
I think it's in the job description.
It's in the job description.
Must worry, but worry productively.
Exactly. And don't waste energy on things that you can't fix. But, I've realized over the years that it's impossible for me and Boyd to know everything. And so, we've gotten really good at aligning ourselves with people in our network that can, offer assistance to us and offer help. I think a lot of entrepreneurs tend to be afraid to ask questions because they don't want to seem like they don't know, but it's impossible to know everything. So I would say that I'm much calmer than I was when I first started. I also, after a year and a half in the business, we had our daughter. And so I became a new mom and was trying to run a company at the same time. And so I didn't sleep much. And so I tend to sleep a lot more.
Yep, that's good. That's a great development.
Yeah. And, one of the things I was going to talk about later on, but, I think it's important to celebrate the wins. As entrepreneurs, we tend to just be traveling in a straight line at a high speed every single day. And you forget to pause and celebrate the things that you have accomplished.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So what is the biggest thing that you have accomplished at Boyd?
Oh my gosh.
You knew I was going to ask that. That was just a layup.
I would say just becoming a better leader. As an entrepreneur, your people tend to, obviously choosing the right people is key. And in our organization, Boyd and I could not do what we do without our people. We have an amazing team. And, I think the key in being business owners is you have to create a path for your people. And I think, being able to lead and, just create a vision for people to be a part of is something that, I'm really proud of that we've been able to do because we've been going for a while now. And a lot of our people that are with us have been with us for a very long time. And so I feel very proud that, we're able to create an environment where people like to come to work. We're creating a lifestyle for people where, everyone can ride a bike. We're very big on people getting off at 4:00 so they can go pick up their children from school and spend time as a family. And so to me, that's a huge success is just an individual in society. If I can create an opportunity for people to live their best lives or have a good work environment where they feel happy and satisfied, I feel like that's a huge win.
Right. Yeah. You're creating something larger than yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here, Nicole.
Okay.
This podcast is brought to you by Designly, South Carolina's top-rated app development company, and Word of Web, your partner in smarter website strategy and design. Welcome back to The Founder Factor. We're here chatting with Nicole Johnson, co-founder of Boyd Cycling. All right, here we go again. Let's do it. So tell me about the most challenging moment that you've had so far with Boyd Cycling.
Yeah, so this one probably tops anything that we've been through. So it happened in 2012. So we were a few years into the business. Everything was humming along. We had 4 wheel builders. We had 6 employees. We felt great. The product was really taking off. The brand was growing. And the company that was producing our rims in Asia told us they could grow with us and everything was fine. And so we ordered literally our biggest shipment. It was $250,000 worth of rims. So that was a big deal for us. And they produced the rims for us and they shipped them to us. And by that point, we were using sea shipment. So that was a big deal because before that, we were air shipping everything, which was quite expensive. And so we got the shipment in and we started going through it. And we have a very tight QC spec process with our product. And the rims did not meet our QC. So we called them up.
Is that quality control?
Quality control, okay. Yeah. And just the product itself. There's a process that we go through and just making sure everything's correct. Sure. And so they agreed to take the rims back. So we shipped everything back. And within 30 days, we received the shipment again, which this was during the busiest time of the year. So we were already in a bind and the product did not meet spec again. So we shipped it back to them again and they sent it a third time and the third time did not meet our spec. And so when we shared with them that we were not pleased, that did not meet our spec, they, for lack of a better term, ghosted us. They did not produce the product to, our spec again, and they kept our money. And then, and we had our own rim shapes, our own designs, our own IP. And then within a year's time, we saw our rim shapes on another company's product.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so at that time, we had already started working with a new factory, one of the highest tech factories in Asia. So we were very excited to be able to form a new relationship. But we had to retool our product. We had to come up with all new rim shapes.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah. So there was nothing that we could do because being a smaller company, and there's really not, assistance across the pond, if you will.
You just lost $250,000 then.
So we lost $250,000. So at that time, we were not in debt at all as a company because literally Boyd and I have been very smart about how we grow the company. And we keep putting money back into the company. So, we would basically, buy our product, sell it all, and then be able to buy more. And every time we bought more, we sold more. Mm-hmm. So it was just this ebb and flow and we were profitable from the beginning. And so this was a hit that was very difficult to overcome. So we had to borrow money to basically revamp our product and almost start over.
That's terrible.
But, all these things, they happen for a reason. And so that was the beginning of a very long-term relationship with our carbon factory. And our product went to another level of quality that, we really needed to do long-term anyway. And so, and we've gotten over that and have grown exponentially over the last, number of years. But I think, if that happens to people, it's really important to know that, you can get over something that substantial. And in the moment, you lose a lot of sleep and it's very stressful. But, we, again, had great support and we had a great banker who recognized that, we were headed in the right direction with, the history of our company. And that's something that, unfortunately was not our fault. And it's good that we have such a tight, process of our quality, and that's one of the main drivers in our business is our quality. So,
right. Well, is there anything you would have done differently with that situation now, looking back?
Honestly, I think no. There's sometimes, people ask the question of, is the product good enough to put on the street? And for us, it wasn't. And so there was no reason for us to take a chance or a risk. And I know that's probably very difficult for a company our size to, lack of a better word, swallow. But we had to. And, we have people time and time again over the years that just rave about our quality of product, and they love our wheels and have had them for years and they last. So that's something that's really made us excel in the industry is our quality. And so we would never back down from that. And so it was okay. It worked out just fine.
Yeah, sounds like it. So how have you maintained that quality considering all of the supply chain issues we've seen in the past few years?
Yeah, that's a fun question. So we actually were very fortunate. Obviously COVID started in Asia. Unfortunately, the pandemic was something that affected the entire world. Because we produce our product in Asia, we knew how bad it was going to be. And so we were in a great position to be able to up our forecasts and increase our inventory. And I remember Boyd talking about it. He's like, Nicole, this is going to be bad. And so we took a risk and a chance to increase our inventory. Anytime you do that, you have to make sure that the business is there and that, you're going to be able to get back out what you put into it. And so, a lot of the decisions that we make are very calculated these days because we've been in the business for a long time. And so that was the best decision we could have made because during COVID, as we all know, the supply chain was very taxed and, shipping was taxed. Like it was, very difficult to get a boat across the water and even into the port without lots and lots of delays. So we were able to air ship our product in. We, just figured out all the different things that we had to overcome in a very short period of time. And we were able to grow our company by 1.5 times during COVID, which we feel very, very fortunate. And we've been able to maintain that growth. And so that's where I'd love to share with you kind of our next steps of what we're able to accomplish because of that growth.
Sure. Yeah. And I have a little parable that just came to mind from that story. I always think about this, you have to assemble the parachute when you're jumping out of the plane.
Right.
I'm sure you didn't know anything about overcoming these obstacles when you first started.
No. And I remember, it was an eerie feeling that I'm sure lots of people can share the pain with is when, everything shut down the first 2 weeks of March. It got very, very quiet. And it was an eerie feeling. I never will forget the sound or the quietness of everyone's business in the world, right? Yeah. But once people wrapped their mind around what we needed to do, and what companies, did with basically taking care of their employees and allowing people to work from home. And, I think it was an awakening of balance in people's lives. So in the outdoor industry, lots of companies grew exponentially because people got outside again. True. They started doing things.
A lot of people took up cycling.
A lot of people took up cycling, and a lot of people have maintained it, which we love that. Yep. That's been really fun to see people continue on. Yes.
So shifting gears a little bit to the more community Greenville side of things. So I know you're really involved locally with organizations beyond Boyd.
Yes.
There's one particular project that I know about. It's called what is it called? Moms in Action?
Moms for Motion.
Moms for Motion. It's like action is not the right noun. Okay. So what is that project about?
Yeah. So, let's see. About a year and a half ago, one of my dear friends called me up on the phone and said, Nicole, why do we not have a pump track here in Greenville? And some people don't know what that is. It's basically a paved track for children, but also for, all ages. It's paved and it's designed just to get people on bikes and in a safe environment. It can be children, literally at the age of 2 years old, all the way up through 20. And it just teaches skills. It's a safe place for people to come and share the love of cycling. And it's I believe it's an Olympic sport now.
Really?
Yeah. And, it's proven to be a community draw. It's great for all walks of life, if you will. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of kids that maybe don't have access to a safe cycling area, we're hopeful that this is going to be put in the city of Greenville. So it'll, be in an area that a lot of neighborhoods back up to it so kids can walk to it. We're really looking to hopefully maybe donate some bikes for it so that if a kid doesn't have a bike, they can have access to it, and it's free. Mm-hmm. So we're been working on it for about a year and a half now. It's a process. It's important to educate people on the value of it. Mm-hmm. It's also, there's some costs associated with it. So we will be doing some fundraising and hopefully we'll be making that announcement here soon.
That's incredible. What a great initiative.
I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah. It sounds like that'll be a great benefit for the community.
Yes, definitely.
Well, last question here, wrapping up. So,
Okay.
Our podcast is named The Founder Factor. So we have to ask this. Mm-hmm. What is that one thing, that founder factor, if you will, that makes for let's say an impactful entrepreneur, successful, whatever that word is for you? Yeah,
I would say that it's important to know that you don't know everything and it's okay to ask for help. I do think that people tend to think that they are the only one living in this space, and it's not true. And there's lots of people that have overcome some of the challenges that you as an entrepreneur will face. And why recreate the wheel, for lack of a better word? So
clever. I love that. Well, that is on brand for the interview. So I'll leave it at that. But thank you again for joining us, Nicole. It's been great talking with you.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline. I love this opportunity. So I'm glad to be here.
Of course. Well, you've been listening to The Founder Factor. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode with Nicole. Feel free to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your content. See you next time.